Welcome to episode number 96 of the Closing Table with Lawyers title. I'm your host, Tamera Gaede. Today's guests are going to talk about balancing their professional and personal lives right after this.
Welcome to the Closing Table with host Tamera Gaede, where we break down how to be successful in real estate and what it's really like to work in the real estate business. This is the Closing Table with Lawyers title.
Welcome back. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gaede, and today we're going to have another segment in my Participate in Life Together series. We're going to talk about how women in business balance all the things, okay? And today's guest, well, actually, one of them is a returning guest. I have Lisa Elliott back. She's a top producer with the Hershenberg Group. She's been in real estate for 8 years. She's been married for 35 years, people, so she knows some stuff. She's got 4 kids and one furry kid. Her kids are grown, so it's just her and Bert now, her husband, and she's got 2 weddings underneath her belt in 2 years. And that's a lot of planning, Lisa. That's just a lot of planning. Luann is a top producer with the Hershenberg Group. She's been in real estate for 11 years. She's been married for 15 years and has 2 kids. Both of them are in college, so we know there's some expense there. At UNT, local school, woo woo, and has been dealing with college kids and the expenses that go with it, like I said. So welcome, Luann and Lisa. It's good to have you on the show today.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Y'all look so pretty and smiley. It just makes me happy, you know? So I'm excited to have you guys back. I want to talk about how we are constantly multitasking and how we keep that going down the road. You just took a big, deep breath. So, yeah, let's start out with how we're all pivoting and shifting in our personal lives and business right now, because real estate's weird. Right. And you guys are in transition in a lot of ways with your families. Right. Mm-hmm. So how are you guys, dodging and shifting and making things still work? Right. Are we exhausted? Are we happy? Are we all the things? Talk to me. That was a lot. That was a big question. You go first.
Breath. You're
Come on,
ready, girl.
Yeah, you took the big breath. You have to go first.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we're talking about too is the phase of life that we're in, which, as you get a little older, you are a little more tired along the way. So it's just the major adjustment of figuring out, the shifting. I became a realtor because I wanted more control over my own schedule, right?
How's that going?
That's funny. Yeah, because I was in corporate America before. Yeah. I was senior VP at a large public relations agency here in Dallas for 16 years, and I left that when I had my kids to be home with them for a while. And then after they kind of got going and got into school, I was thinking, I want to work. I don't really want to go back to the corporate grind. I do like real estate. So let me jump into that because I think that's going to give me more flexibility with me deciding my own schedule along the way. And to a lot of degree, it does. You do have more control over your own schedule. However, trying to meld that and the demand of clients and what you're trying to do with the constant changing environment along with maintaining our health. Making sure there's enough money in my kids' account so they can pay for their apartment, making sure tuition is paid, all the things kind of coming together at once make it quite a bit more challenging.
I think it's, a lot of balls in the air.
A lot of balls in the air.
A lot of balls in the air.
Yeah.
What about you, Lisa? How do you feel about all the shifting and pivoting and all the things we're doing right now?
It's constant. I mean, it keeps you on your toes, just like your kids and your family. I mean, if you're not changing, you're left behind. If you're doing what you always did, then you're going to get what you got, and it's past that now. Everything's changing. The real estate market, the world, the kids, and whereas before they were part of your world, and now you have to get into their world.
Oh, that's interesting, right? It's a shift, right?
Because you created that world, for them in their home, and now that they are in their own worlds, their own families, and their own jobs and careers and homes. And it's like, what does that look like for us? We have to pivot and go into their world and know what they're interested in and go where they are to to be a part of that.
You're not wrong. So I think I told you guys that my niece has been up here for the summer. She had an internship with Fidelity Investments.
Yeah.
She is so smart. She's fabulous. She is just fabulous.
Like a
Anyway,
rant.
I know. I was so excited to get to spend a lot of time with her this summer. But anyway, I felt that struggle between her parents and her, like trying to, I finally sat her down and I said, okay, you have to be gentle with your parents. Okay. But you're going to have to work on this separation that's happening, right? Because they're going to have and are having a hard time with it. I had several conversations with my brother where he wanted her to go home and she was like, no, I don't want to go home for the weekend or whatever it was, right? And so, I was like, ooh.
But you want them to have that. You want them to be, I mean, you've done your job, supposedly. You want them to have their own careers and their own homes and their own money and, their own lives. But then it's like, oh, well, okay. I miss you.
Yeah. But I never saw them. They didn't come up here this summer. So to see her. And that was kind of, look, I'm not trying to take a side, okay? Because I see both sides of this, right? And I don't have kids, so I need to be careful because some people would say, well, you never had kids, you don't understand, right? But I do see the push and pull from it all. And, I think it's a hard transition for a lot of people to let go and understand that their kids are growing up, right? And to figure out how to what the new world looks like with them, right? So that kind of brings me to my next question. We are already talking about the transition to being an empty nester. And how do you emotionally deal with that? Did you have trouble letting go, Luann? Did you have
absolutely. Yeah, I think you're very fearful when your kids are in high school and, they've been in your life for 18 years, So it is a hard adjustment. And I was very fearful of what that transition was going to be like. Mine was a little easier because my daughter went first and my son was a couple of years behind. But yeah, it's a major transition. And then when they go away and then they're away for a while, it's another transition.
Yeah.
Then when they want to come back home for a while, because when they go away, you think you're not going to be able to handle it. But when they do, your life adjusts. Then you go back to, I forgot what it was like before kids.
Well, you're in the college phase, so you're used to them coming home maybe in the summer. I mean, they're local, but if they were further away, you would be used to them coming home in the summertime, right? And so I think that's, where my brother was having a hard time because this is her first summer of not being home, right? So now it's really starting to, and she's a senior this year. So this is it, you know what I mean? And I think that's, where the hardship is coming from. And, I feel for him, but also I was personally just wanting to keep my niece to myself for the first time.
Yeah.
I have to be honest about that. Anyway,
It's just a lot of changing and shifting.
Yes.
It's a challenge when they go, then you get used to that. And then it's a challenge when they come back again because you're living this young person lifestyle and you're like, I go to bed at 10 o'clock now.
Well, but also, okay, so a little bit deeper than that would be you're used to controlling the situation as a parent. And now they have a voice. They don't have to necessarily do what you ask them to do. Now, look, there is always a conflict between they're on my payroll and they're 21.
And under my roof.
Yeah, 21, right?
Right.
So how do you guys deal with that? What does that look like? Was that been an issue for you to figure out where the boundaries are, or did they tell you where the boundaries were going to be?
I think it just kind of worked out. My husband's super smart and super wise. And so he was like, it's okay. It'll all, water out. It'll all be okay. It just kind of worked out for us. Everybody's kind of staggered. So they'd come home maybe for summer and then they'd go back to school. But I think they were all respectful of us too. They didn't stay out. If they're going to be late, they told us. So, but we didn't demand anything. It was just kind of a Sorry, I scratched the table.
Mine's a little more challenging than that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Lisa's making it sound like all warm and fuzzy, and we're challenging.
I mean, I think the worst thing was, are you going to be home for dinner? You
Yeah.
know? And it's like, well, I don't know. What do you mean? You don't
My
know?
answer would be yes, because I don't want to cook.
Free food.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had rules like for my son who plays the drum set. We live in a townhome. So we do have water.
How does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I don't
we
think it
talked
does.
to the neighbor, and the neighbor said as long as he's done by 10, I'm good with it. But you have to work.
I know
these
a lot of
things out.
neighbors that have been like, absolutely not. I would have been one of those neighbors. I'll be honest. Yeah. And Jesse's pointing to himself too, our producer.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Her husband was a drummer, so she was a little more understanding.
Oh, okay. I think that's how you got that to work.
Yeah, but it's definitely they think they can. He thinks he can be more in charge of his own schedule, no matter what ours is. And we've had to have a little conversation about our house, our rules, our roof. I get it. You've been living on your own for a couple of years now, but when you come home, you have to be thoughtful of our life too, because we get up and go to work early in the morning.
So how did he receive that message?
He mostly listens.
He mostly listens. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you're sugarcoating a little bit.
Yeah, I don't want to throw him under the bus too hard. We're working on it. Yeah.
You're working on it. Work in progress.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I do see the issue between, the difference of schedules, right? Because I mean, I think we can all remember when we were their age, right? And what our lives look like.
Right.
I was coming and going at all hours in the night, and still getting up and going to work.
Yeah.
However,
You still have the energy
that
to do
I can't
that.
do anymore. Absolutely not. But I think that is a hard thing to figure out. Were there tears in it all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Lisa's over there thinking, sunshine and rainbows over there in Lisa's world.
No. There are tears. I mean, I miss my kids.
Yeah.
When they're gone. I had one that moved up to New York during COVID. And watching her go and chase her dream, and it was like, there were some tears shed, but at the same time, super excited for her, super happy, that she has the ability to go and chase her dream. Was it easy? No. Did I put on a good front? Maybe.
And Bert was in the background to console you whenever we had those closed door breakdowns.
Yes. Chasing failure. They have to go. They have to chase
failure.
Yeah.
Explain.
Yeah.
That was a documentary that we watched by a man named Ryan Leake. And he did this documentary on chasing failure. What could I do if I knew I could not fail? And so after my husband watched that, and he watched that, she's going to New York. She is going to chase her dream, because we never wanted her to say what if, and or any of our kids for that matter. But this is where she wanted to go to fulfill her dream.
Is this school?
No, this was going to pursue a professional career in dancing, a professional dancer.
Okay.
And now she is.
So wait, what does the financial situation look like for her? Are you supporting it?
No. Mm-mm.
Is she living in a closet with 12 other people in a 700 square foot apartment that costs $5,000?
That's a whole other podcast. When she went up there, we helped her a little bit just to get started. But she made her way, and she found jobs, and she found gigs, and the Lord is good. And she met a roommate who was actually from here. They went to the same church. They didn't know it. And they found a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment in Astoria. And I mean, it was really cool. And she was there for 3 years, and now she's traveling around, and she's not home that much. And she's like, why am I paying New York rent and New York taxes?
Yeah,
and
we're going to have to talk about this offline, because my niece wanted to go to Boston or New York, and I was like, and I think she'll probably get an offer from her internship, and so that's a Dallas thing. Yeah. And I was like, it might not be bad to live here for a couple of years and build up some savings, because your initial paycheck is going to go a lot further here than it would in New York or Boston, Well, and maybe I'm influencing her incorrectly. So let's talk about that. I want to talk about that more offline.
Yeah, and do it now while you're young and you can, and there's so much to go and do and be, and why not?
Yeah, I don't want to influence her in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? I always am very careful about what I say to her. But, and I wasn't speaking to her selfishly. I don't think, because I wanted her to be in Dallas. But anyway, we'll talk more about that. Okay, so here's a subject that I connect to a lot: self-care.
Yeah.
So I'm okay saying how old I am. I'm 51. Are y'all okay saying how old you are?
I am not.
Okay.
No kidding.
Okay. You don't have to. Like, and so I'm kind of setting the stage. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I think with self-care has had to become a priority for me from a health standpoint, not just, I want to go get a massage, but I want to do that too.
Yeah, of course.
Or I want to get a facial, right? And I want to do that too, right? So it was really funny. I think I was talking to you guys when we were talking about the podcast and what we were going to discuss today, that sometimes I look at my calendar and my doctor's appointments outweigh my business appointments, And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like a whole day is nothing but doctor's appointments. And I'm like, what is happening to my life? But I think we have to prioritize self-care. Do you guys prioritize self-care, and what does that look like?
I would say not as much as I should. And
Okay.
I'm realizing that I'm going to have to, because if you don't, you pay for it down the road, right?
Are you interested in sharing with us what your story is with that?
Well, I just, I found let me tell you something. 50s to 60, there's a whole lot of changing going on.
I don't want to hear that. I'm already tired of the 50s. Like 40s were fabulous, but the 50s, I'm sorry. I keep telling everybody, don't do 50. Just don't. Just skip over the 50s and let it all settle out,
It's really, they talk about work-life balance, and a lot of people just kind of ignore that, head down, work, right? Because they're fine for the longest time. They're fine for the longest time. But if you don't have more of that balance, take care of your health, it will catch up to you.
It 100% will.
And it gets harder as you get older, as we know. It's you don't have as much energy. If you're dealing with health issues, like I've had that pain management issue with sciatic nerve and disc-related stuff. If you don't deal with that, guess what? It makes it harder for me to do my job. I have to do a lot of driving and a lot of walking, a lot of showing. There's a lot involved.
I've seen you when it's flared up and you're like a robot. You can't, your mobility is really restricted.
Right.
And I have the same issue too. So I understand.
Right.
We've seen each other at the pain management doctor together. Okay.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. So it's one more thing that we're balancing in there,
Well, and I will say this, if you don't address it, it will derail your life.
It will.
For sure.
Meaning when I have a flare up, like a really bad one, I have to cancel things, right? And I have to get my rear end to the doctor to try to get this under control as quick as possible. And I've experienced that with Peanut too, as he's gotten older. We've had issues where I've been up at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock in the morning, taking him to the emergency vet, all in the same night, by the way. So
I actually remember that.
Yeah, and so these things do catch up with you, and so staying ahead of things, I think, is really important.
And Lisa's one that can talk to that. She's been very good about that.
I've tried. The past couple of years, I've tried to get my weight under control, and then realizing,
you've worked really hard on that. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And it just slips up on you. All of a sudden, you look up and you're like, "Who is that person in the mirror? I don't even recognize that girl."
Well, you know what the worst thing in the world is? Are those Facebook memories? Okay, all the ones in my 40s are coming out. I was like, "Oh, I was fabulous." You know what I mean? And what happened?
Yeah, I look at a carb now and it's 10 pounds. I can't even look at them, but I love them. They don't like me. So just going through that, and then going through, we have a wonderful chiropractor. It's wellness, it's well-being. It's the whole thing. It's the food, it's the chiropractor, and how everything aligns together, and what you're reading, what you put your mind to, and staying active. And I have a trainer, and she's amazing. And shout out to Southern Values. She's an agent too. But she talks about how you're like doing squats. You don't want to do squats, but you think about your squats and your glutes and your legs. Those are, if you can't sit down, where are you? If you can't get up from sitting down, there are a lot of places that you can't get up from. Can you go upstairs? Can you get out out of the bathroom? Can you get out of your car? Can you get out of a seat? Can you, I mean, it affects so much, and you just don't think about that. A lot of,
I don't think I've ever thought whether or not I could get up and down like that.
Yeah, it used to be don't skip leg day. Well, now I understand.
I've always hated leg day.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about this already. When we get into our routines, we all have our routines, right? And the way that we get up in the morning, and what we do first thing, and then how we process our day, and what time we have dinner, and what time you already said I go to bed at 10, right? So then somebody pivots boomerangs back into your life, right? Your kids come home, and it's interesting. I had Allison at the house for a week, and I told my best friend, I was like, I want her here so much, but I also want her to go away so much. Yeah. Don't ever look at this, Allison, because
that's exactly right.
I want you at my house. You are always welcome at my house, right?
Yes.
And it was so great, but it was also like, okay, I just need some no people time, right? And all of this. But so how do you guys deal with the quiet time or needing your routine? How do you preserve your routine or the way you've scheduled your life? Do you just do it anyway?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you go into your bedroom at night and close the door and be like, I don't want to talk to you anymore?
I turn on my sound machine. I turn the fan on.
Do you? Okay, so my sound machine is my fan. I have a giant noisy box fan.
Yeah.
Like a freaking train could come through my house and I wouldn't hear anything. The Walmart $20 fan, big box fan.
Yeah.
I don't want those quiet oscillating ones. I want the ones that sound, like a tornado in my room.
Yeah. When our kids are there, we stay up late watching movies, and you're like, yeah, I'll stay up and watch with you, because you know what? They're not always going to come and spend the night.
True.
They're not always going to be there to hang out. And so with Nay being back, then, it'll be like, hey, y'all want to watch a movie? Yeah, we'll watch a movie. It's 9:00 and we're starting a movie.
Oh my God. I say yes, but then I'm asleep on the couch, you know?
Yeah. She'll go, Mom, go to bed. I'm like, no, I'm awake. I'm awake. But all too soon, they do have their own homes. They do, and then they may spend the night Christmas or, a holiday or whatever. And then or if it's a freeze and everybody comes to our house because we're on the fire department grid, so we didn't lose power, so everybody came to our house. And it was great. But
well, that's different because you're all snowed in and you don't have to worry about a schedule anymore,
Yeah.
So it's party all night at Lisa's house.
Yeah. What are we cooking? What are we making?
Oh, I think going to your house during a snowstorm would actually be really fun. Like, I think you would be a really good cook, and I would be like some chili or some fabulous chili or lasagna would pop out of the oven, and I would be really happy.
Come on, the next Armageddon. Come on, Snowmageddon. I guess
It's still fun to make memories with them when they come back.
Yeah.
There's still things. My son is at UNT, like we talked about, but he also has a full-time job working in new home sales.
Oh, okay.
So he works with Land and Homes, and so now we have grown-up, interesting business conversation.
Oh, very nice.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And we talk about the industry and what's going on and what do you think. So that's kind of been a cool experience I'm getting to have with him, even late at night sometimes, but it's worth it.
Yeah, Allison and I did the same because she's going to go into wealth management, which is sales, right?
Yeah.
And so she's interviewing, and I said, well, have you ever taken a DISC test? And she's like, what's a DISC test?
Oh, yeah.
And so she's all on the internet she nerded out on them. She took 3.
Oh, gosh.
And I said, this is language you can use to craft your resume, right? And it also shows you and your potential employer that you're meant to be in sales, right? So we had a lot of conversations about, and she's like, well, they want to know if I've had experience in a sales role, they want her to demonstrate growth, right? And I was like, well, you worked at a clothing store last summer. And she was like, I know, and I said, well, it was commission. And she said, but it wasn't my commission, it was group commission. I said, well, if there was an increase of sales, that's
you're adding
that's
to the commission. Yeah, that's right.
So, those type of conversations, we had those as well. That's interesting. I like talking to her about
Which
it.
is a pivot, because now you're talking about their world and adult things, whereas before you're probably not, talking about movies, or we still do about that stuff, but.
Well, okay, so that segues into my next question. We're going to talk about relevancy. So what do your kids do, or what do you glean from your kids to stay relevant? What have they taught you about that you didn't know about?
They've taught me a lot more about social media. That's been, because anymore as a realtor, you've got to continually grow. And now with AI and everything that's going on with that, it started with Facebook, which is what most of our generation knows, right? Facebook. Then it was Instagram. And then it was TikTok. And then it was, what's the one that goes away?
Snapchat.
Yeah,
See, I don't do Snapchat.
And
It's too much.
And Twitter, or now X.
Yeah, it's just hard to keep up with it all. But the kids got to where they didn't communicate via phone call or even text. Definitely not email. And I would tell people, don't even leave a voicemail. They'll never hear it. They don't listen to them. I mean, that
would drive me crazy just to have all these voicemails sitting on my phone.
We communicate via Snapchat. It's all social media stuff.
Do they make you communicate via Snapchat?
No, I threaten them with their lives when I call or text.
You better answer. But also,
your mama.
you're still on the payroll, and I'm your mama. However, I choose to communicate.
Yeah, but in that, and learning more about the social media stuff, it's also helping me start to learn more about what we need to do to keep promoting our business. Because now, if you're not out there doing videos and you're not on social media, you're falling behind.
You are 100%
So
being left out, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
You have to adopt the big things, which now it's all about AI. I just got back from Inman, and it was tons of conversation about AI.
Right.
But you can't leave out the personal aspect.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I don't think anybody thought that you should. No.
I think it's, you DM or you send a video text or, however you can communicate with however that sect of people are communicating.
No, 100%. I mean, look, I was talking to my team about this. My vision, what I want it to be able to do for me is I want to be in the car driving 90 down the tollway, because that's a real thing. Sorry, but
it is. It is.
No, sorry, not sorry. And I want to say, call Lisa Elliott.
Yeah.
Hey, chat GBT, call Lisa Elliott. It calls you, and after it hangs up, it goes, do you have any notes that you want to record in your CRM? And I say, yes, I do. This is what we talked about. Or it records the conversation, transcribes what's important, and puts it in the outcome notes of my CRM. And then I go down to the next one. And by the way,
it's
in
awesome.
the morning, it told me the 5 people I needed to call today. Okay. So
I think it's awesome.
These are things that it can, I would think that, Jesse, can it do it? Not yet on the call part. Okay. Well, this is, what I mean? This is what we need it to do. But that's not replacing me calling you.
Right.
No.
You understand? It's the logistical part of making the call while I'm driving 90 down the tollway.
Right.
Which I do all the time. I call it, hey, Siri, call blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's what I do now.
Hey, Siri, call blah, blah.
Call blah, blah, blah.
Hey, Siri, text blah, blah, blah.
But I also need to keep up with my CRM and know that I called that person. So I did touch base and keep up with my people, right? So anyway, yes, I mean, we need these tools to help us. My team and I are in the process of making lists of what our repetitive tasks are so we can train AI to do it for us.
That's smart.
That was one of the things that I learned at Inman, was to start by making a list of repetitive tasks.
Interesting.
And see if we can get AI to do a lot of it. Like my podcast notes, I'm done. I mean, I'm going to talk to you guys about it a little bit, but if I can offload that and have AI do it and send me the podcast notes and then I send it to you and we don't even have the call, saves me 30 to 45 minutes on a Monday.
Well, I just I learned this not too long ago, uploaded an inspection report. It was 70 pages. It wasn't an inspector I usually use. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's so much. And I was like, how? And it was just kind of janky. The whole report just didn't flow. And so I uploaded it to ChatGPT. Bam, hit me all the points, all the things. Now, I went back and make sure nothing was missed.
Yeah, you got to double check.
Make sure, double check.
Yeah, double check.
But it was such a great summary to do that. I was like, oh, okay. This
Even
is
better
pretty
than the
cool.
inspector summary, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now my next question is, did you send it to the inspector and go, hey, man, like next time can you do this?
Hey, man, next time get next time get the report builder. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not lazy, but it's just a lot. It's just.
Well, 70 pages. Who wants to look at 70 pages of anything? I'm just being real.
And it was 2 different reports almost.
Yeah.
And so I just was like,
Well, a lot of inspectors have that summary at the end. I don't, the last page, that tells you where the highlights are and what you really need to pay attention. If they're not doing that, y'all need to get on board.
They do.
Yeah. But just stuff like that.
What else are you using it for? How are you doing with it, Luann? Are we still in the learning process?
We're still in the learning
process. But that's okay.
Process.
I think a lot of people are. And look, it just, last year, was it? Or 2022 when we started, where this really became a thing?
Yeah.
And look, at first, I think there should be we should look at it from a little bit of an intimidation standpoint, meaning it's a big thing. And it can be scary. And where's the control in it? Right. Because we're starting to have those conversations where government is having those conversations.
What's real? What's not real?
Yeah. And where is it making mistakes? And, we still need, like you said, the human eyeballs to double check the work. Right. So I think it's okay to dip your toe in slowly. Right. But the thing is, it's here to stay. And we're going to have to adopt it, or it's just, I'm tired of working until 9:00 on a Friday night. You know what I mean? Right. I wanted to do some things so that I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of this is shifted from Facebook to Instagram now, where a lot of people are doing these videos where they do the little cut segments and then they put them all together and it jumps from one room to the next, with the music and all that kind of thing. That seems to be the norm now.
Well, you can reach a bigger audience on Instagram than you can on Facebook. So if you target the information correctly, when people search on Instagram, they're going to pull up your stuff. And YouTube is the same, but I think Instagram.
And they just changed that. And they just changed that on Instagram, or it's coming, where you can search keywords, and it comes up through Instagram now.
So relocation buyers should be a big thing for you guys to target on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I made a coloring sheet off. I like to have coloring sheets at my open houses for people who come with little kids and something to do. Hopefully they don't color on the wall, but
right.
But, so I uploaded the picture and said, make
the house.
And make a coloring sheet of this house, and it pops up and it's the house.
Oh, that's cute. That's a nice little takeaway too for people to remember the house. Do you put the address on it too?
Well, it's at the open. Oh, you know what? No, I probably should though.
You should.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. The kids take it with them. I don't know.
Yeah. Brand it to myself.
Well, we were talking about all kinds of branded things today. We're not going to dive into that, but just interesting takeaway. That's an interesting takeaway from an open house. Anyway, I think this is a great place to stop for today. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. I enjoyed our conversation.
We didn't even get to all our questions.
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, we did. We just talked so much more offline.
No, we did good. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And that's a wrap on episode number 96. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gaede, with The Closing Table with Lawyers Title. If you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So give me an opportunity to help you with your title needs and make it a great day.